Well, it's official. The FIA has confirmed Red Bull have the fastest car, and yet, Verstappen just can't win a race. So clearly a car merchant. Let's jump into everything in the Blatantly Biased Racing Podcast.
Welcome to the Blatantly Biased Racing Podcast. Now here's a bald guy and some Indian.
Hey man, how are you?
Pretty good. The race, the Monaco Grand Prix,
amazing.
we have, oh, fuck off. That's one way to start a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kimi Antonelli,
This is the
5
kind
wins
of
out of
coverage
6
you
races.
won't get at the race, right? You know what I mean? You'll never have Scott Mitchell Mam say something and Ed Straw go, "Oh, fuck off, Scott."
Well, they might.
Yeah.
They just
Maybe.
won't air it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's for the Patreon episodes. The uncensored version.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, let's start. Monaco Grand Prix. Who won? Kimi Antonelli. Like, he wins every fucking thing these days.
Yeah.
I'm already getting bored. I mean,
And Russell came last, so
I had not noticed. Was it
He
Russell
did,
or
right?
Checo? I think
it was one of the
might be
two.
Checo, yeah.
I'll find out.
Checo
But
got
it is just like it couldn't have gone worse, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, of the people who... Oh, no, he didn't come last. So he came 12th. It was Checo, then Colapinto, then Hulkenberg, then Russell.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he got no points.
They also got penalties, right?
Yeah.
I forgot.
There was just penalties everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably one way to make the race interesting, or maybe keep people plugged in. Cause
Who cares? Qualifying's all that Monaco's for. We all know this.
Yeah, it's the Monaco Grand Qualifying, right? That's what it's supposed to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, the first topic, let's throw Monaco out. Because that's the first topic.
No. Just no.
Okay.
Look, I have to say, okay, it was an exceptionally dull race. Like, it was incredible. Like, any hope that these cars could change things was gone after about 5 laps. It was like, oh, no, that's that. It was truly terrible. In fact, I'm pretty sure there was not a single on-track actual overtake where it wasn't someone DNFing. I'm trying to think of one, and I can't think of any, basically.
When during the last restart, when Hulkenberg overtook Carlos, there was slight bump between the two, right? And Carlos was pushed away.
I guess actually,
Hulkenberg got a
sorry.
10-second penalty for that.
And if you're counting the actual race starts, there was probably a few. But I mean, in actual racing, there was no...
No, at the hairpin. So Hulkenberg overtook Carlos at the hairpin. I mean, I don't think we will even call it a overtake, because ultimately he got a 10-second penalty. Yeah. So it's just
and then Colapinto hit him as well. Poor Carlos.
Oh yeah. He had a bad one, but it
happens.
So for me, I was interested for 5 or 6 laps. Then we had the whole. I think it was Lando who was trying to overtake Gasly, and it became very clear. So because every time out of the tunnel, Gasly would just place his car right on the inside or just in the middle of the road, and there's nothing on the left, nothing on the right. You can't really do anything. At that point, it's like, why are we wasting anyone's time there?
Big. They're just still too
and they
big.
will continue to be too big, right?
Yeah.
This is not going to change. So just, as I said, get rid of Monaco.
No.
It's a waste of time. It's a waste of everyone's time right now.
No,
the
I think
level of frustration that is there.
There's a clear and obvious solution to this. It's obvious. So they set the qualifying order in their cars, so we get the epic qualifying session that we always get around Monaco, which is exciting and fun and everything, right? And then on Sunday, there's a once-off F2 car that's made that every driver gets. It's exactly the same, and they all drive each other in an F2 car, and we get a proper showdown of who the best F1 driver is.
Have you seen the F2 races?
Okay, F3. What it can be an F4. I don't care what it is, but something small enough. It could be a go-kart. I don't care.
They need a go-kart at this point, because that's how narrow the whole thing is. And you can't really have... For me, the biggest... There's Formula One, on one side, it's about the excellence of the engineering and everything involved, right? And again, the qualifying aspect is very, very impressive. My worry when it comes to Monaco is I think this weekend was probably the biggest and the most, I don't know how to put it, the ugliest display of affluence.
I was
for me.
gonna say this is all down to your communism. That's all this
Communism.
is. You're just a communist out now. What
Yeah,
other
'cause-
race? What other race do you get to see such wonderful yachts, wealthy people, Kim Kardashian stealing Kimi Antonelli's DNA straight off the circuit? We're allowed to have one show of wealth a year, okay? This is Formula One's Davos. Okay,
For me,
that's what this is.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with just the
I don't
show
have
of
any
wealth.
problems with Davos.
That's an entirely different story. I don't have any issue with the whole display of wealth. Everything's fine for me because look, that's Formula One. My thing is that is the only thing that's symbolic with Monaco now. There's not the excellence on track is missing, and I think for me that's a very, very that's questionable. That's where things get a bit. Yeah, but look, if that is what Formula One is, it's if this is what it is only going to be. It's not fun. You saw. The problem that happened is, and I think this time around it was probably the first time when I had quite a few journalists. I actually had a chat with a few of them, and a lot of people didn't like because it became a bit gaudy, the level of opulence and the everything.
Yeah.
And apparently there was this again. I'm not sure if this got televised. There was this case of too many VIPs on the track, and they couldn't. And there was this notification from the FIA that they might have to delay the race to get rid of them from the track. Yeah, this actually happened.
Did you see Martin Brundle trying to talk to Kim Kardashian as well? That actually annoyed me.
What's your take on the whole thing?
It actually annoyed me in one way because I'm like, okay, when other celebrities kind of ignore him, I kind of am like, I can kind of understand that you're probably just invited here for an Instagram photo and you've no idea what this sport is. And while I'd prefer you weren't there, I kind of get that you might not be aware of who Martin Brundle is. But it's like, Kim, your boyfriend is a 7-time world champion. Like, watch the sport or fuck off. You know, like, what are you doing here? Like, and then stealing Kimi Antonelli's. Like, I know you love DNA. I'm aware it built your entire career. All right, I get that, but it's just it's not cool.
In her defense, and I don't know why
there is
even
no defense.
Coming to her defense.
If you
Kimi
bring up
was yet to use the towel.
We don't know that.
There was no DNA on it. Yeah. Okay, so look, her being there and I don't think either of us watched the F1 TV. Sky Sports.
No,
we didn't, right?
I only watched it afterwards because people were giving out again. So I was like, I'll check out the highlights from because they always publish Martin Brundle's highlights. You know.
Yeah. So apparently the Sky Sports broadcast, it had continuous references of Kim Kardashian for some reason or the other.
Of course,
Of course. Yeah, and again, F1 TV, none of it, right? I don't think it was even once mentioned or not.
There was because it uses the same international feed. There was a moment where it cut to Kim like looking down. I think she was in the top of the she wasn't even in the Ferrari garage, like, which just shows you're not there for Formula One. You're just there to be seen on television. Like, you literally are in the Ferrari, like you're with the Ferrari people. And instead of sitting down in the garage where the cars come in and out, the place where all the celebrities absolutely love to be, like Terry Crews, all those guys go to.
No. At Monaco, it's not possible because they don't have the
shit, you're right, actually.
You have to be on the
You're
top
right,
of floor,
you're
right?
So I've gotten annoyed at her for no reason. But anyway, my point was that was I take that back. I've gotten annoyed at her for several reasons. That just can't be one of them anymore. But where was my point? Yeah, that was the only reason I knew she was there, was because the camera cut to her for a minute.
It continued to be there. And again, we did a few stories on her on Sportskida as well. But for me, I don't understand the outrage. Kim giving the cold shoulder to Martin, because I don't think she's expected to know. Look, there are many wives that don't know what their husbands do. There are many wives that don't know what their husbands do, and I think if you're talking about
race, you know exactly what your husband does.
Yeah, but you don't know about the whole history and everything.
Get a better press
she might
person.
have been.
She's got the money.
I agree with you on that thing.
She's
and I
got
also
like a
agree
ton
with,
of. If I'm going to a I don't like basketball, right? But if I somehow become a billionaire off this podcast, which could happen. I mean,
Of course.
because Aramco reach out. But like,
Yeah.
if we become billionaires, right? If I'm going to an NBA match, you know what I mean, and I know I'm famous and rich, I'm going to definitely have a person who whispers in my ear, "That guy's this guy." So you know what I mean, like, or tells me. Like,
Yeah,
I don't want
so
to
that you
look
don't
like
look
a
out of
moron.
place.
I don't look like a
Exactly.
moron. He comes over like, "Hey, can I whatever?" And I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Who are you?" You
exactly. And
she
again,
probably
again,
wants the
wasn't
attention.
first
Actually,
one.
now that I think about it, maybe she was told exactly who he was, and she was like, "Oh, every time they ignore him, it becomes a big story. So just ignore him." Like that wouldn't
Yeah.
surprise me if that's the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it,
Maybe, but
Yeah.
again, just my view. I don't think. I think, and I understand why Martin was there, just trying to get a bite.
that's what he
'cause
does.
That's
It's his job. Like,
exactly. That's what his job is. I don't think anyone is obliged to know who Martin Brundle is. Just my take.
I
And it
think
becomes
you
a bit too much. Because if you remember, Machine Gun Kelly was also, a few years back, he was in the Brazilian Grand Prix, and either he wasn't able to hear what Martin was saying or something, that the conversation was not fluid. And apparently he received a lot of backlash, and he said, I didn't know who the guy was. I couldn't hear him. That's why the
I'm
whole
pretty
thing
sure he
happened.
was nice to him as well, though. He just couldn't hear him.
Yeah, couldn't
Like,
hear
it
him,
wasn't-
apparently,
With,
yeah.
with the Kim one, it was kind of like the looking and like. I think why people get annoyed at this is even if you don't know who
She looks very pretentious.
But she just
the way
looks
she
at him
conducts herself.
and kind of like gave a smirk and then went back. And it's like there's a guy with a microphone asking you questions. The least you can do is just say, "Hey, sorry, I don't have time at the minute." Like that's like even it doesn't matter if you know who someone like if we go back, if in the future I'm like a rich billionaire, if I had no idea who you were, my at the very least is common courtesy to just go, "Hey, sorry, I'm just in the middle of something. I just don't have time. I'm so sorry." And then at least you don't look like a dickhead.
Be respectful.
Yeah.
Be respectful.
You don't need to know who Martin is to go,
Yeah.
"Hey, sorry, I don't have time."
You
Instead
know
of looking and then your security pushes him away. That's just, you just look like an asshole. Like when people hate the rich, that's the kind of people they hate. It's not the rich guy who shows up like Terry Crews, who's a multimillionaire, shows up because I love the sport. Sorry, I don't know so much. And you're just what a nice guy, you know?
Yeah.
Someone told me we need to tax Terry Crews. I'd be like, no, give him 0% tax. You leave that fucker alone. You know what I mean? Like, that's... Yeah.
Was it Lewis Hamilton who told you that?
Oh, don't get me started on his interview.
That's a 3-year-old clip. So
Is it? Good.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
it's a
Hopefully
3-year-old
he's...
clip.
I don't think he's learned since then, though. But anyway, we'll keep going because he's now going out with Kim Kardashian. So
Condolences.
and he drives for Ferrari. So I will say I don't think he's gotten any smarter. Am I allowed to say that on the podcast?
Moving on. Now let's talk about Formula One. Let's talk about Formula One. Since we're talking about Ferrari, let's talk about probably the stuff that infuriated me the most. Ferrari, Charles Leclerc, the entire race weekend. Your take on the whole thing, then I'll jump in and share my view.
Just ridiculous. I mean, unfortunately for him, like the crash into the walls, the brakes and stuff, that does seem like it was that asphalt as well that didn't help either. So the grip through there. I think it was probably a combination, right, of maybe locking up slightly. But was it an actual brake failure? Did we find out? Okay, right. So Lance Stroll was just incompetence then? That's all that was?
No.
Right?
Lance Stroll's case was the deployment issue. Apparently, when the car was supposed to slow down, it sped up and crashed him into the wall.
Honda going well.
Which is so...
But yeah, like that was fine. But like honestly, the problem I had was like Jolie and Palmer kind of explained, I thought very well afterwards, like the position Ferrari was in of like what it was, right? And like what it was trying to do in terms of like if they don't pit Charles Leclerc there and they're going to take on Kimi, you then have Charles Leclerc on older tires basically just holding up Hamilton on faster ones. So like I think from a strategy point of view, you can see where the argument...
you're talking about the
pit stop where he got held up.
Stroll's incident. Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. It's hard to stay awake during this race, so forgive me if I'm wrong at points. But anyway, the point is, like he was saying, you don't want to pit the guys on this because you'll end up hurting the other one. And if you're going for a win, his argument was, I was like, that's a valid strategy argument. But you know what a normal team does in that situation, communicates with their driver and tells them why they're planning to box, and allows the driver to, at the very least, start going, no, I'm not coming in, or we're not doing that, or giving whatever
Leclerc said
position
so,
you
by
want.
the way.
Yeah. So
Leclerc,
ridiculous.
Leclerc said he didn't want to pit.
So why did he pit? Oh, but this was after, I'm guessing. He had pitted, right?
He said he didn't want to pit, and Ferrari said, just come in.
Then Charles, that's on you, buddy. You signed the contract. You agreed to pit.
That's what I was about to say.
At some point, this is like walking into a BDSM club and saying you didn't want to be whipped. I'm not really believing it anymore, you know?
Yeah, because it's become a bit... Yeah, this is the first time in Leclerc's career at Ferrari where I didn't really feel sorry for him. Because you sign up for this nonsense every fucking time. And again, if you look at Leclerc's entire weekend, it started with optimism on Thursday when it was on Thursday when he signed the contract. From that point onwards, again, he was expected to at least contend for the win, if not win the whole thing. You had Friday, he was complaining about the brakes throughout. You could see that, again, he was getting the lap time out of the car, but he wasn't entirely comfortable. There were a couple of times where he went straight on in Mirabel. Then came qualifying, we were live, and we saw whatever happened there. He was pushing beyond the car's limits.
Yeah.
Even on the lap where he crashed, he was a couple of tenths up on Kimi. So if it had somehow stuck, he would have been on pole, which would have been a miracle. But again, he was going beyond cars' capabilities on that front.
Yeah.
Then comes Sunday, and on Sunday, look, the start is fine. He is effectively P2. He was quicker than Lewis when it comes to the race pace. And at that point, when you are pitting, ideally what Ferrari should have done, there are two options there. First is, and I don't buy Julian Palmer's argument, because let's be honest, it's Monaco. We saw 0 overtakes.
Sure. But the point was more like,
if you want to go for a win or anything, you forget about getting a jump on the safety car restart, because there's not enough space at Sandover. There's nothing.
But remember, at this point, when they were talking about that, Kimi hadn't come in yet because he didn't come in till the next lap. So
doesn't matter.
The thinking was Kimi was on very old hard tires, and they were on.
Doesn't matter.
No, I get what you're saying, but my point is, like, if you're going for the best chance of an overtake, that's what you're doing. Was his point? He's like, I'm not saying it was.
In that case, case, there's the other alternative. Just bring Leclerc in on the next lap, because Kimi was going to come in on the very next lap. It was clear as day. The start finish straight was blocked because of Lance. So everyone was going to come into the pits, either through the pit lane route or anything. What they could have done, which again, Kimi came in the next lap, right? So what they could have done is pit Lewis on the very first lap, his penalty and everything, it goes. And then on the next lap, you pit Leclerc. In that way, if after that, Lewis comes out ahead, no harm, no foul. But if Leclerc comes out ahead, then again, he's supposed to be there.
You got the penalty. That's tough shit. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's in that case, it becomes a bit more. It's not even about the things being fair or anything.
And also,
it's about
you give it
not. Yeah.
So, and you also have the chance that something goes wrong with Kimi's stop or whatever, and you end up jumping him in the pits. So
yeah, you keep your options open, and that's how smart. That's how
Jolyon.
Red Bull in the past used to do that. By the way,
yeah,
I don't know what they do right now.
And just to defend Jolyon, he was just trying to say this is probably their thinking. I don't think at any point he said that was smart. He just kind of said they were probably thinking X, Y, Z.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, it's a fair point. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you could see the logic in it of what they were thinking, but it was probably still like
the logic was wrong, because it leaves exactly it leaves one driver disgruntled for no reason whatsoever, because he's sitting there looking at Lewis go through 5 seconds of his penalty and it being completely nullified, and he lost a P2 position in his home race. At what point? And again, I won't be surprised if that meant Leclerc was a bit hot-headed when it came to the safety car restart, and that led to the error. I would not be surprised if that played a role. And ultimately, when the whole situation happens in this manner, you're going to screw things up for your drivers. Yeah. But this is typical Ferrari, by the way. Mm-hmm. Come into a weekend with high optimism, slowly it disintegrates, and by the end of it, it's heartbreak for one or the other driver. And this has been the case since 2020, 2019, or since 2008.
Yeah.
And if that has been the case since 20 years, why the fuck did Leclerc sign a 5-year extension? Where's the logic in the whole thing?
Can I read a comment actually that I haven't replied to on Wheel Sports, because I put someone only listened to the first 13 seconds of my video, which means that they just read the title and then I made a joke and at the first 13 seconds and they decided I'm a moron. And you're fine. I mean, you're mostly right. You know, you've come to the right conclusion without doing the work in between, if that makes sense. There's other reasons I'm a moron. But the title of the video is obviously, is Charles Leclerc insane or being blackmailed, right? But this was the only reason I cut in is I think this is really funny that people actually are arguing for Ferrari still. And I thought I probably won't read all of it because it's about 4 years long. But anyway, I only listened to the first 13 seconds and realized your title isn't clickbait, but you're actually serious. But I'll watch it as I type this. Fair enough. I wasn't being serious. I was like making fun. But anyway, I'll try not to be harsh and tell you this pop culture trend of hating on Ferrari and claiming Ferrari ruined driver careers and kills puppies is pathetic and clueless. First of all, I thought I was the idiot till I read that part. All you DTS fanboys watching YouTube shorts made by 14-year-olds who think it's cool to say Ferrari are cursed. You guys think Haas or Alpine are better than Ferrari, eh? First of all, never selected those two teams. Don't know where that came from. Because sure as hell there is no vacancy in a top team. Again, I covered this in the video and I was like, there could be later in the season. But anyway, he goes on to type other stuff that I'm not really interested in. After that part, I kind of gave up because he was like hindsight's 2020, defending Ferrari. And it's like, I think if you're watching DTS, that's only giving you brief highlights of how bad Ferrari has been. I think to really understand how Ferrari's been. Yeah. I literally started typing a reply of, I've been watching since 2004. And then I went, I'm not bothered. I just deleted it and thought, I'll probably just read this out. I'm blatantly biased. And then I started reading it again and the same confirmation came of, I'm not actually that bothered. But my point is like, how can you defend Ferrari anymore?
You can't. That's the reality. And how can you sign a 5-year extension with that team?
This is the thing.
Other than money, how can you do that? Other than
money,
just the fact that you're going to get shit rich by just...
The only thing I can
can't be
think
that
of,
high in Monaco, right?
The only thing I can think of is that he has some sort of exit clause that says that at any point Ferrari isn't winning the title, he can leave. And I mean at any given Sunday, he can just wake up and go, I'm off. I'll see you guys.
I don't think that's the case.
Or at least once a year, though. At least once a year. You would imagine he has an exit clause on performance.
I don't know,
but
man.
Who knows? And it's Ferrari, so maybe not. Ferrari don't give those contracts. So...
He's completely screwed himself over. And at this point, I think we went into quite a bit of detail, right, on the 30-minute reaction that we done. At this point, you cannot sit and say that, okay, Leclerc deserves sympathy. I'm sorry, dude, you don't. It's like going back to the toxic girlfriend again and again and again and hoping this time it will be better.
It's the definition of
relationship. Yeah. And the
definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And this is the definition of Ferrari as well, right? Firing the team principal over and over again and expecting different results. Like, it just doesn't work.
Let's talk about it then. The absolutely correct pivot, by the way. So this season, I think it's, again, with the whole results that have come from the ADUO, that also fucked things up for almost everyone on the grid other than McLaren. About that,
definitely.
Yeah. So when it comes to Ferrari, I don't think they're winning any race this season. They might sneak in maybe a win, maybe some lucky win in which 4 or 5 cars crash into each other.
I think their only option is Mercedes and McLaren take themselves out at some point in a race, and somehow
Red Bull also self-immolates. So that's why I said 4 or 5 cars.
Mercedes take themselves out, and McLaren, even with the fastest car, end up just DNFing every race. So there's a good chance they could go. Yeah.
Maybe a race like Hungary, they still have an option. Maybe a Singapore or stuff. But on pace, they are done. This was supposed to be the race in which they should have won. They haven't, because again they didn't have the pace. It was obvious in the race that Kimi was on a different level.
I don't know though if that's true that they didn't have the pace. I think they forced themselves into a strange setup window because they seem to get slower instead of faster over the course of the weekend. So it wouldn't surprise me if they just basically the Italians still can't read data, basically. So
Okay. They did get faster, right? I mean,
but I mean the setup didn't seem to go in the right direction as far
they
as I
didn't
can
make
see.
the progress that they were expecting. While Red Bull made the jump and Mercedes Kimi obviously did. George screwed himself again. And there's also there's also this case where if Leclerc had a perfect Q3, maybe he might have got pole as well, because his first push lap was pretty good.
Or even just beaten, if he had beaten Max to second, there's a good chance he could have jumped Kimi off the line, because Kimi was fast off the line, but I think the Ferrari was still a bit faster. So there's.
Yeah, but Kimi did beat Lewis off the line as well. So maybe
but Lewis was in third, and had to kind of go around
at the final restart.
Oh right, yeah. Okay,
after the red flag,
yeah, good point. Yeah.
Yep. So coming back to it, if Ferrari is not winning any race this season, and they might finish second, or they could potentially finish third ahead of Red Bull if Red Bull keeps simulating and if McLaren keeps screwing things up. What's the future for Fred Vasseur in that case?
The problem with all of that is, you're right, like that the future for Fred Vasseur will probably be limited, because if they don't finish at the very least second in the constructors this year, there's a good chance the Ferrari board fire him and bring someone else in. But as both of you have said, that is absolutely the wrong decision. Like, the decision right now should be, okay, clearly we have a lot of work still to do at this team. Like, we have built a relatively good car and we're getting smashed even at tracks where we should be good. And there's clearly a lot to do here. And just unless your replacement is someone who just off the bat, unless your replacement is Toto Wolff or Christian Horner, there's essentially no one else that's going to come in with the same kind of experience and the same kind of drive and the same kind of attitude to try and bring people together. And the only way Ferrari turns this around is to say, right, you know what? We have to cut expectations and fix the basics, because we're fucking up everywhere. And we need to give this guy 4 years where we just leave him the fuck alone to go through every single department and optimize and make sure the right people are in place. Because if they fired him and they bring someone else in, you're just starting from scratch again. And what Ferrari are doing is hoping for luck. They're flipping a coin over and over again and just hoping that it looks in. But we've seen in Formula One, that doesn't work. Aston Martin have every ingredient they need, and look how difficult it is. Red Bull had everything they needed and they still lost championships. You need just a constant defined push with the stability in a team. But we know Ferrari's not going to do that. They're just going to go, oh look, we're third this year, fourth this year, we're firing him, get someone else in. And that's a terrible decision, but that's what they'll do.
Do you think Fred Vasseur is inculcating the right culture within Ferrari?
Can I say he's trying to? Because that's what it feels like constantly. It genuinely feels like the way he approaches things and the way he talks is he's trying to get the culture in the right place. But it feels like that the team principal at Ferrari isn't able to set the culture. It's kind of it's it's that one team where internally it likes to tear itself apart. That way, it's not just because the guy at the top isn't backed by the people above him. That way. So the people internally are constantly then going, oh, we can take down the guy at the top and maybe I can get a promotion in future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's essentially, I know this is an off topic version, but Microsoft in the 2000s, right? Microsoft in the 2000s had a setup where if you were the Windows team, you were actively competing against the Windows Phone team. So the idea was to stoke competition, but it ended up meaning that when the Windows Phone team needed something from Windows that would make their product better, the Windows team were incentivized not to give it to them. So everything got fucked. And Ferrari feels like the Microsoft of Formula One, Yeah. The team that should be winning, but cannibalizes itself over and over again. Ferrari's biggest enemy is Ferrari. I think everyone agrees on that.
And realistically, I don't see them winning the championship next year either.
I don't see them winning a championship. Full stop.
something
I don't see them winning. Unless at the end of this year they say, Fred, we're giving you a 5-year no bailout contract and we're just going to see where this goes. I don't see this.
I don't know if even that is enough or that is the whole thing. Because for me, it is a good start in terms of stability, but I don't understand the point of making the car slower to help the second driver. And this is a philosophy that has been there since Carlos was there. And again, it shows the kind of, again, it shows the ability of a Lewis or a Carlos to sway the team in their favor, and the laziness of Charles Leclerc to let the team be swayed in that. Yeah, I'm going to sound very critical of Leclerc this time around, but he's brought it upon himself. The way he's gone about his career, it's nonsensical, honestly.
Signing the contract has just removed all sympathy. I love it.
Yeah, completely. I mean, yeah, you keep screwing yourself over, then what do you expect from us? And because realistically, I don't think by the end of the season, I won't be surprised if Ferrari is the fourth fastest team on the grid.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Because the way the Red Bull power unit, the internal combustion is fine. The ERS and everything, it will improve through the reliability upgrades, which they can have unlimited. There's no stoppage of that. They can do that, and they can help get a power unit in a more stable place compared to Ferrari. They will improve. Then you also have the element of McLaren. They will eventually figure shit out.
I don't think the battery unit upgrades and stuff are unlimited. There's a very simple set there.
The problem with Red Bull is not necessarily the battery unit. The problem is they cannot run the whole thing reliably.
Oh, but reliability updates they can upgrade. But my point is they haven't got the best electrical power unit. That's very obvious, I think.
They have the harvesting and deployment seems fine in terms of the benchmark that was there in Australia and in Bahrain when they had tested. But since it has been failing consistently in terms of the PU keeps...
Yeah, I know, I get that, so but I'm saying it's not as powerful as Mercedes. Full stop.
It might be.
No, the internal combustion engine is.
They've been... in terms of that they've been forced to run it very conservatively. So once... remember in Bahrain after the first or second day when Toto said that Red Bull... that Max Verstappen's stint was very impressive. It was impressive, but the problem is on the in the second Bahrain test they encountered a lot of reliability issues. Since then, they ran the power unit conservatively in Australia, still had failures, and they've continued to have failures because of which they are forced to run it lower and lower and lower. So ultimately, until they are able to fully unleash what the power unit is, they won't be able to show the kind of potential. So even though right now in terms of figures, the internal combustion might seem like the best, but they aren't running it on that level. They can't. It will blow up. That has been their issue. So
that's the problem with the ADUO is like it's not calculated correctly. Like it's wrong.
Yeah, we'll get to that as well. Yeah. So once those things are figured out, I think I won't be surprised if Ferrari is the fourth fastest team once again.
Oh yeah.
And if that's the case. Yeah,
they might be lucky to be fourth, to be honest, because other teams are moving as well.
Williams is the one that I'm keeping an eye on. Cool. Let's talk about one more thing. Lewis Hamilton. Currently, he's second in the championship, by the way. And you have to... Yeah, he's second in the championship.
No way.
Yep.
When did this happen? Oh, my God.
Exactly.
George Russell. Oh, my God, George. What are you doing, buddy? This is insane.
Exactly. So when it comes to Lewis, by the way, this is his third or fourth podium, right? He had 0 last year.
Yeah.
Just this is what, and I touched on it a bit in a video I'd done on Leclerc and Lewis. This is precisely what being world champion is, right? He went to Ferrari. He was nowhere last year, and he focused on one main thing, which was I will completely focus my attention on 2026
don't say DNA.
I was about to say that, and excessively, have his inputs in the 2026 car. And remember we were laughing about one thing last year when the whole thing was happening, where Lewis was consistently talking about how he's extensively putting his inputs into the 2026 car.
You can say I was joking.
Yeah. And remember what Leclerc said at that point? I just want the car.
Just want the fastest car, basically.
Yeah, I'll adapt accordingly.
Yeah.
Now, right now, what we have is we have an SF26, which suits Lewis perfectly in terms of he doesn't have to change his driving style too much. It's very natural to him. Leclerc, on the other hand, he has to make adaptations and improve. inherently and maybe instinctively, I'd still say Leclerc is the faster driver. But what Lewis has done is he has placed himself in a position where he doesn't have to scramble his head throughout the race weekend to find a sweet spot. He finds a sweet spot very early in the weekend, and even though he might not be the fastest Ferrari, he's more or less very consistent in getting the job done, ticking all the boxes and everything. In qualifying, he would have been behind Leclerc if Leclerc nailed everything, but Leclerc didn't. Yeah. In the race, he would have been behind Leclerc once again.
If you could overtake.
If Ferrari, if Ferrari even didn't fuck up the pit stop thing. But most importantly, he's nailing everything and getting the points. And this is what being a world champion is. He's rallied the team behind him. And honestly, he's exposing Leclerc. Leclerc's laziness is being exposed right now because this is Lewis Hamilton being what a world champion is. This is what Max does at Red Bull, what Michael did at Ferrari or whichever team he was part of. Just
we said it complete like in Canada contrast. As well. This felt like old Hamilton again. Yeah, for the first time in years, to be honest.
Probably since 2021, I'd say.
Maybe 2020 even. 2021 he made a lot of mistakes. So you
can say something good about Lewis. Eh?
I did. I went on a rant about how good it was last time. So anyone who thinks I hate Lewis Hamilton, I don't. It's just he just says so many things. He says so many things that are so easy to make fun of. It's like just stop talking, it'll be easier. Just keep driving.
That's what Kim tells him, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. That as well, though. I mean, fair play to Lewis, but also, my God, what is George doing this season? That is awful.
Yeah, let's talk about it then. Okay, so let's talk about the Mercedes and the complete... I don't even know what to make of the whole thing. I think that's the perfect word. Yeah. There's a Kimification of Lewis that is going on. There's a Kimification of Mercedes that's going on. And I'd prefer the Kimification of Mercedes, to be honest. Okay, so first of all,
what we found out though is Kim Kardashian stealing Kimi's DNA. For all we know, Kimi is actually probably still young enough to give Lewis stem cells. Maybe that's what's happening.
Could be. Yeah.
I mean, he is basically a fetus. Like that's it's incredible.
He's less than half of Lewis's age right now. So
he's nearly less than half my age. So.
Yeah, let's not go into the age thing. Okay, so first we talk about Kimi or George. Which one do you want to talk about first?
I mean, Kimi's going to be a very easy one. Fucking incredible. Just what a drive. And just utter confidence from him. He's not putting a foot wrong. Every race he's getting better. So I don't know what else there is to say other than just...
Kimi Antonelli at 19 years of age is better than Max Verstappen at 19 years of age. Yes or no?
I think 100%. Yes. And like that's... I'm not... And again, we clarified this last time and maybe it was during the live, I can't remember. But like, that's not saying Kimi is better than Max full stop. I'm just saying at that particular age. Because like we constantly say, a driver can have a crazy uptick and then kind of level off. So we don't know what the peak is. But if you're comparing them at that age, there's I get you could say all the excuses in the world, like, oh, one's got a title winning car, but I'm just talking about like how they're driving in the car they have. This is a Kimi who's just getting on with it and just...
Max at 19 years of age was, I think, in 2017, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
And 2017, I think he was outscored by Daniel. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to give a very
making a lot of mistakes and being aggressive all the time and getting upset a lot, these kind of things. And I know part of that's down to not having a car that you want. You're not in a winning car, but
you're pushing a bit too much.
Yeah.
He's picked up 5 wins in 6 races now, and that is the best start to a season since Sebastian Vettel in 2011.
Yeah.
So Kimi's out here breaking Sebastian Vettel's records. At some point I'm happy for him. At some point I'm very sad because
we're both massive Vettel fans. Yeah.
So, yeah. Was Kimi the best driver this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's just not a moment like even like that Mercedes was obviously it turned out way better around here than I expected it would be. To be fair, I think there's a few reasons for that, but I think he still, like, as you saw from George, he could have very easily made a lot of mistakes. And, like, you know, George was struggling to get that car to the right speed, you know, and Kimi just seemed effortless in it. He's just so, you know.
Kimi lapped George, by the way.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yeah. And he lapped it when George had a 30-second free air in front of him. There was nothing in front of him. And Kimi came through behind him, was lapping around a second and a half faster than George, and just went by. And George is not a bad driver.
No,
George is not a bad driver whatsoever.
I don't care what anyone says. We have enough proof from all of his years in Formula One that George is one of the top drivers in the sport, and last year potentially the second best driver in the sport, maybe the third. But yeah, like
sure.
Just and
if we are saying George is a pathetic driver, then what was Lewis in those 3 years? And if you're saying Lewis is bad in those 3 years, then how bad is Charles?
If you're saying that George is a terrible driver, then to quote Buffon U6U, all you DTS fanboys watching YouTube shorts made by 14-year-olds who think it's cool to say George is a bad driver are cursed. So it's one of my favorite sentences. Actually, I might reply and just give him an applause, because it takes a lot of effort to get that annoyed over a single sentence.
The one that we done, by the way, the whole 30-minute thing, it had a lot of these similar comments. You guys are DTS fans and everything. After a point, I'm like, sure, buddy, have at it. What's the point? So
I'm too old to be a DTS fan. Like I think just George is a brilliant driver. I will say this has me more confidently saying that this is a very, very clear, and I think we said it during the live stream, that like it's very, very obvious that George just isn't comfortable with this car in the same way like Lando struggled last year, and you know we've seen with some drivers. But as we also said during that live stream, tough shit. You want to win world championships, you just have to, like, you can't let that happen. You have to be able to adapt, and I guess that's hard when the other driver has adapted so well to the car, but that's Formula One. You gotta be able to.
No mistakes, no nothing. Everything is, and again, we can say that Kimi might have the fastest car, but it wasn't the fastest car by a mile. Mm-hmm. He was quicker by less than a tenth. I think half, but 500ths. That was the gap. 0.052 was the gap between Kimi and Max.
Yeah, I think
it's essentially flipping a coin between those two drivers. And again, a lot of Max fans would gas up Max that the car was not supposed to be there.
That's the best
just dragged it out of nowhere. Yeah, but the point is that minute gap shows that he extracted everything out of the car. In the toughest circumstances, in probably the toughest tracks, to extract everything out of it, and he did so. At some point, we have to. He's 19 and he's doing all of these things at 19 years of age. Just crazy. Now let's talk about George, because again, there's a lot of things around his drive. I think he talked about it in the post-quali thing where he said that the car comes naturally to Kimi and it does not come naturally to me at all.
Kind of what we just said there,
Yeah, exactly. And even if that is the case, I think after the race in Monaco, George has to be very, very careful, because the way things are trending, if somehow McLaren becomes a contender, if somehow Ferrari becomes a contender, or maybe a Red Bull becomes a contender, he could be turned into a second driver if this is the gap that's going to be. It's 68 points right now.
Yep.
It's reaching a point where, again, 68 points, 16 races or 18 races, whatever. The gap is surmountable. It's not really that it's out of the question.
Mm-hmm.
What is he going to do with the misfortune, by the way? That's also a question.
How did he actually end up last again? It was the drive-through, or what?
So here's what happened. First of all, the whole speeding in the pit lane thing, which seems to be insane. A very freak error or freak way of calculating.
It seems like a lot of people miscalculated that. Yeah.
So again, that's an entirely different story. He had a 5-second penalty, and for some reason, I don't know what it was, Mercedes decided not
That's what it was. Yeah, they didn't serve it. So yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah,
if they had, Yeah, by the way, if they had, George would have been on the podium.
Yeah.
He was P3 and
Yeah.
he lost 15 points here. He lost 25 points in the previous race. That's 40 points. Plus, there's also a 7-point shift between him and Kimi because Kimi ended up winning. It's around 47 points. That's the swing. Then you can add what happened in Japan, China, the other races. The gap would have been nothing. But he's had a 6-race run, which is, I don't know what kind of bad luck he's having. He seems in a very, very tough spot right now because not only is he struggling to put the pieces together when it comes to the Mercedes, but there's also the element of everything that could go wrong is continuing to go wrong. And it is reaching a point where even if Kimi ends up having a couple of DNFs for one reason or the other, the gap is still too big.
Yeah.
And I'm not entirely sure how he's going to recover from that.
It's very nearly 3 races versus 3-0 points you would need to overturn that. So like,
Yeah.
you're talking like you're almost at 10 race wins versus second to overturn that. You know, like it's a lot. Now Kimi could have similar issues later, but it's a lot, you know.
Yeah. It seems to be happening a lot and only on one side of the grid, only on one side of the garage.
I think that the problem is twofold though, isn't it? Because like, I think we'd be having a different conversation if, for example, at, you know, China, Japan, Canada, like Canada, Kimi was giving him a good go, but Russell was the fastest person that weekend, right? If Monaco, Miami,
Russell managed it best, is what I would say.
But he was ahead, so he's faster. Let's just, you know, we could debate all day and go through all of it. But let's just use that as the benchmark, right? But like if Russell was just out and out being the fastest driver in Japan, China, like, and it wasn't close, or even if it was close, if he was just the fastest there, Miami, here, and it was like every single race he was ahead and then lost due to the problems he was having, like the DNF of Canada. So basically, if that's what it was, DNF of Canada, Mercedes fucking up here, you know, the issues with the car in Japan and China he was having, like Japan was the strategy. You know, if he was ahead in every single race, like say Japan, where he was ahead and it was kind of strategy blunder. No, Japan. Remember safety car.
Sorry, yeah.
If that was the case every race, like Miami and thing, you'd be like, he's just got unlucky. He is actually the better driver who's just having seriously bad luck. The problem with this is you can kind of go, yes, he's been having seriously bad luck, but he also hasn't been the best driver. Like, it's both of those
He's getting
things.
thrashed. I mean, not being the best driver or not being the better driver is a very, very loose metric to use here, because he was in Miami was more than 40 seconds behind Kimi.
And it was similar here at Monaco. Yeah.
He got lapped. Yeah. Because it seems that when things go wrong for George, they go really wrong, where he's nowhere. But when things are clicking with him, he's right on Kimi's level. It's not really a case of him dominating Kimi at any point. Yeah. Barcelona is going to be I would have said Monaco was a must-win race. I think Barcelona is also a must-win race. At least now he's moving on from the tight and twisty circuit like Monaco. Maybe he might have more confidence there.
Yeah, and if he doesn't, then it's going to start to be for me like, okay, Kimi, you know, Kimi's basically going to walk this now unless something goes crazy, because my expectation was McLaren doing really well, and I do think McLaren have like caught up to Mercedes in terms of just raw pace. When we get to Barcelona, we're probably going to see that like Mercedes and McLaren are on a very similar level. But whatever's going on with McLaren in terms of operations, it's awful. I don't know what's happening, because it's not just like even running the engine alone, like they're having way more issues than Mercedes.
Then let's talk about McLaren, because we've had 6 races now. Yeah. First race, Oscar didn't even start. Second race was China. Neither driver started. That's 3 DNFs. Then we had the third race in Japan. Lando had the trouble with reliability throughout the race. Then we had the race in Miami, which was fine. After that, we had the race in Canada, and I think it was Lando once again retiring. And then this race, again, we've had Lando retire. So we've had at least 1 DNS or DNF per race in 6 races. what are you doing? What are you doing here? Is it entirely a bad power unit? Is it an issue with the gearbox? What's going on?
Well, this is what's strange, right? Because like they seem to have caught up in terms of deployment. Like we talked about that, they were pretty good in deployment. The car, in terms of like just the chassis going around corners, I think it's at least close enough to fight Mercedes, if not maybe better in certain areas. But yeah, it's like operations. So first thing, obviously Canada was just bluntly just a fuck up. But
Yeah,
like running the engine.
destruction completely.
So like
yeah.
the strange thing is, there's been a couple of times where I've heard it's gearbox issues, and when it's gearbox issues, you can't blame Mercedes there because they built their own gearbox. So it's like, right, that's on you. You've
Canada
built,
is gearbox.
yeah. But I think in Monaco it was just a power unit failure, and I think a couple of other times it's just been a power unit failure.
All of
And
them have been power unit failures. There's only one in gearbox, which was Canada.
Okay.
The first race, the Australia was a DNS because some spike in the power unit
failure. Yeah.
No, some spike in the power unit led to Oscar spinning.
Oh,
You
yeah,
remember?
yeah.
So that happened there. The second race in China, both of them didn't start because of power unit issues. This was also power unit issue. The free practice, the FP3 was power unit issue. Then you had, and I think Lando is at is now at his third out of the third batteries. It's just the sixth race. What is going on? There's a lot of things that are not falling in.
There's only two options there, though, isn't there? It's either Mercedes are giving them the really shit power units, and if so, that needs to be investigated because you're not allowed to do that. I think that's unlikely because it's properly like that. That could get you banned.
That won't be the case, yeah.
But that would be a serious problem.
Yeah, you're getting
you know?
disqualified, yeah.
Yeah, even the Mercedes team themselves, because they would be like, right, you guys have tried to just ruin the competition here. Or it's just
packaging,
and I think this is more likely packaging, or just McLaren in terms of how they're running the engine not being on top of what the engine needs, and Mercedes not needing to tell them like, oh, for reliability purposes we do X. They don't need to tell them that.
Could be.
They have to figure it out themselves. So I think it's more likely it's just McLaren operations, because McLaren operations this season so far seem pretty woeful. Like they don't seem good.
Yeah, 100%.
So
I'm a bit worried because I'm a bit confused and worried because of the way the season has been going. Lando seems chill, but we've reached 6 races now, and being chill is maybe not the thing if you want to fight for the title.
I think he seemed chill because of expectations, but we could see when like a couple of times where the car wasn't delivering, he could see him start to get a bit like, what the fuck is going on here? You know?
Yeah, but he needs to be more assertive now because it's big. It's 25% of the season is gone, and they are still having the same issues they had in the first race. And just his post-race interview again, he was being sarcastic and everything. At some point, you have to give a clearer message to the team that this is not acceptable. We've had 6 DNF or DNS in the first 6 races. That's if Cadillac was doing such a thing, or if I don't think even Aston Martin has at this poor a rate. No, they might have.
Yeah.
But if that is the rate they are operating at, it's not acceptable. You cannot be a championship contending team and be this poor when it comes to reliability and operations. You just can't. Just not acceptable. And just to sum it all up, I think there's one area where McLaren is probably struggling. It comes down to their front wing, the upgraded front wing that was supposed to come. I mean, the iterations have been brought, and one of them was brought in Monaco as well. If things don't work in Barcelona with the upgrade, I think they are in for probably a tough season because the championship is gone. If things aren't improved in Barcelona, if they aren't fighting for the win in that particular race, it's over. When it comes to the championship battle, the gap will be too big.
Yeah.
Okay, so next is... by the way, Aston Martin. Well, they scored points. Most importantly, the one thing that probably stood out for me and probably for everyone else, and Alonso talked about it, his post-race quote was that in the first race in Australia, we found that our power unit was not up to the mark. In the second race, we found that there were vibrations. In Canada, we found that our gearbox was not working fine. In Monaco, we found out that our car is not aerodynamically perfect. It has far too many flaws. So everything is not working well at this point.
Yeah.
That's what he's essentially saying.
I think the irony of all this, or not irony, but maybe like the funny thing about all of this is, I think technically, like Newey, when he went to Aston Martin, kind of alluded to potentially this being the case, from early on anyway.
Yeah.
I think the one
in
that
Monaco
threw them all
only,
was,
right? His first appearance was in Monaco last year, and he kind of threw a grenade where he said that
he basically said this is everything's
driver in
behind.
loop simulator needs to be improved.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that need to be changed.
Over the course of the season, he essentially said like everything's kind of behind, full stop.
Yeah.
And in an interview, he said like I'm starting 4 months behind as well. So I think the problem is just how bad this is the issue. Like,
Exactly.
Like if they were just a midfield competitor, you'd be like, actually, this isn't too bad considering what he was saying. It's the fact of just how bad everything is that is like. But I also think as well, they haven't brought, I don't think, a single upgrade since testing.
So what they are going to do is before summer. So I think Spa is the last race, or is it Hungary?
I think it's either Spa or Hungary.
It might be Spa.
I think they said they're bringing their big upgrade for Spa. I think was the plan.
So exactly. So that is the last race before the summer
right
break.
now.
Yeah.
Where
It's
the
Spa.
fuck is it? Yeah, is it?
I think so.
Why am I seeing round 14 as Spain? We got a second Spain track?
Yeah, Madrid.
Oh yeah, that starts this year. Oh my god.
Yeah.
For some reason, because we have Barcelona this week, I thought it was. That
was the only
next year.
Spanish. Yeah.
But yeah, Spa
So-
is the second last one. Hungary is the last one. But I think they're bringing it for Spa anyway.
Yeah. So they'll be bringing it for. Okay, yeah. So they'll be bringing it for Spa, and in that case, I think that has to work. And I think by that time, Honda is also bringing their upgraded power unit, which hopefully works.
Yes and no, right? I think the problem with this is they're probably going to try and bring up an upgrade, but also I don't know if they will, because the other option could be. No, I guess they have to, don't they? Because
They
whatever
have
they need to
4
spend it this year anyway.
They have 4 upgrades that they can bring per season. 4 upgraded power units that they can bring
Did they get
per
4
season.
or 2?
2 is for Ferrari and Audi. 1 is for Mercedes, and
Yeah.
4 is for Honda.
I thought it was still 2, but they just had more hours to do those 2. That was my thinking. But anyway, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I'll double check.
I know they get 2 for this year and 2 for next year, but all Ferrari, Audi, and Honda I thought get 2 for this year, 2 for next year.
Yeah.
I think my thinking was they'd probably, I guess if they need to spend the upgrades this season anyway, they can't spend those because they've get separate ones for next year. But the only thing I would say is there's a potential that they spend those upgrades on areas that might not be the most useful thing for 2026, because if the power units are changing in a more substantial way for 2027,
No,
some
they
of those
aren't, no.
upgrades.
They aren't changing that much.
They're changing in balance of power maybe between the ICE and the electrical.
Yeah, 60-40. So they are.
Is that all it is? Did they finally decide on that? I thought it was still waiting on.
It's still going on, but most probably it will be 60-40 because
That's what
F1
Audi's
cannot
pushing
afford it.
for as well.
No, Audi is pushing for something completely
No
different.
changes.
Yeah. Why are they here, anyways?
Volkswagen Group, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I don't even really think, to be honest, we should get any expectations for where Aston will be this season, because
Yeah.
I think knowing Newey and just having like watched him for so long, there's a good chance that his pragmatic way of thinking will be, let's just bring an upgrade that tests how everything will be for next season, basically. So like, this is the concept we're going for 2027, that we're going to put all of our spend and time and energy into. And these are the 2 or 3 fundamental changes we're making to like Aero from what we've learned this season. So we're going to bring a basic version of that fundamental change, check it works, and then kind of go, cool, that works, moving on. Like I would not be surprised, because I could see him saying very like kind of, and it makes sense as well, like, why would we put a load of effort and energy into trying to get closer to the midfield this season when we're just spending money we could spend next year? But it depends how big
Because
the car is going to
foundational-
change.
Yeah, because foundationally the package might be a good one.
It depends how much of a change you're doing next year.
Exactly.
Like if you're changing the entire, for example, if you're changing the entire mechanical platform, then most of the aero you put on this year would kind of be a waste. But if it's going to be very similar, then yes, you might as well keep developing because a lot of it will carry over.
Exactly my point. And yeah, let's see what they do. I have no expectations, either positive or negative, when it comes to Aston Martin, because they've been a bag full of surprises or shocks this season completely. Yeah. Cadillac also almost scored a point, then it got taken away. Checo almost got a point, right? Because of the whole starting in the wrong position.
Twice.
They were the faster team, by the way, this time around compared to Aston Martin, which is I don't know. Again, good for Cadillac, but realistically, they still have a long way to go. I don't think they're going to trouble the scorers.
Let's be honest, that's more on Aston than it is on... Like, Cadillac's doing 100%. Well, but it's more because Aston fucked up than anything else, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, cool. Now let's jump to the questions. There are a ton of them.
Before we get to questions...
Yes?
1 sec. There's two really quick things. First of all, I guess we did talk about ADUO, right?
No, we haven't. Let's talk about ADUO.
And just before that, though, an optimistic thing.
Okay.
There was one upside of Monaco.
Okay.
These cars can properly follow for a long time. Like a really long time.
I don't care.
All right, moving on. So ADUO, I think just like how I think the teams are probably gaming the whole start
Let's first explain it, because I've been pinged by a few people asking for an explanation. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to write the whole thing. I'll rather put it in the podcast and we'll just share it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Go for it. What is ADUO?
So ADUO is the additional development and upgrade opportunities. That's what it stands for. F1 loves the fucking acronym. And essentially it's meant to be a catch-up mechanism that allows all of the team's engines, or the manufacturer's engines, to be benchmarked every 6 races, I think it was initially. Now I think it's been changed.
25% of the season,
Yeah, now it's been changed, I think, to set dates because the race cancellations and so on, but originally it was 6 races. And after that, then the team gets additional upgrades. So this won't be the last time you hear about this. In 6 or 7 races' time, you'll get another batch of upgrades allowed and so on. And essentially, if you're over 2%, you're allowed 1 upgrade. If you're over 4%, you're allowed 2 upgrades. I'm pretty sure 2 upgrades is where it stops, and it's 2 upgrades for this season, 2 upgrades for next season. The difference is if you're more than 6%, 8%, or 10%, you get more money, more development time. I think that's it, and more dyno time. So you get essentially more money, more spend, more dyno time, basically. So it's supposed to be a catch up. Now the problem with this whole system that we need to get into is the benchmarking isn't actually done on the power unit. It's done on the V6. That is the issue here. So from my reading of going through it all, what it looks like to me is it's really, really fucking hard to decide which electrical side of the power unit is better, right? So if you take the MGK, the power unit, like the electrical part of the engine, super complex to decide which one's better, because like it's not just a peak power output. It's like depending on how you charge, how you deploy, where you deploy, like energy mapping software. So the FIA basically went, well, that's really complicated, so we'll just do it based on the peak power output of the combustion engine. Which, and I'll say, I don't really care if you're not allowed to say this word on YouTube, but that's retarded. So you should not be.
And there goes our monetization.
No, it's fine. And I know you're a communist, and I'm not allowed to say words like this. But anyway. But hi, Sai. Anyway, that's what they decided to base it on. And I think that was stupidity because, well, for obvious reasons. Like, Red Bull have a fantastic power unit, but even if we say it's down to reliability issues, they clearly don't have the best power unit. So, like, why is Mercedes, who clearly have the best power unit, getting extra
2%.
upgrades? Like, it just doesn't make any sense, right? And I will say, the problem I saw with the system straight away, and if I saw this, right, and I will say, I said straight away, after seeing the results, the problem I saw when I was like, oh, they are just doing it on ice. Because I assumed, like, I was like, we talked about this earlier in the season that they might just be doing it on the ice. And I was like,
we talked about this thing, and I think I told you that they are going to do it on the basis of ice because it's, as you said earlier, it's not practical to take the other electric part into consideration.
Yeah, so maybe my optimism was that they wouldn't do that because it seemed like a stupid idea. But then, like, when I read it yesterday, I was like, if I'm an engineer and I'm at Mercedes and they come out with the rules to say, by the way, even if it's the start of this season, like, by the way, we're doing it on this, and you go, oh, it turns out our electrical system is actually like 5% better than Red Bull's, on track where it matters. The first thing I'm going to do is go, guys, can you derate the ice a little bit? Done. Job done. Or you just last year when you're developing, when you know these rules are coming in, you go, okay, the ice is at this point. We don't need to focus on that anymore. And if Christian, and I will, the last thing I'll say, and maybe this is just to wind up the fans because, I like doing that. Yeah. If Christian Horner was still running that team, I can almost guarantee you Red Bull would be at the 4% mark right now because he would have initially said, we're not winning the championship, make that ice look shit because we can still use the electrical on track just as well.
Even if he was on the grid and if the whole thing had been whichever way the result came, I don't think he would have let this go through in any which way. Because the problem that is going on right now is the whole thing is very counterintuitive. And okay, so let's break it down a bit. The reason why they're taking the internal combustion engine into consideration is, and this is probably a bit shocking, and this is something that a lot of people would be pissed about when they get to know about it. Even though it is supposedly 50% of your power is being produced by internal combustion engine, it's not only 50%, it's close to 70%.
Oh yeah.
How? Yeah. How? Because ultimately you're using the internal combustion engine to rotate the turbine to produce the electric power. That electric power goes to the battery and that power is being used. Which is precisely why a lot of people are not happy with these regulations and the way they have been structured. That's the first thing. That's why they went with the internal combustion engine's numbers. Secondly, they cannot calculate the electric efficiency. So they had to go with this particular way. Third thing, and I think this is the most important thing, Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, Honda, Audi, they all signed on it. They all agreed to it. And while we can shit on the FIA as much as we want, all these numbnuts, they agreed to it. Why the fuck did they agree to
Horner,
something like this?
I just don't think there's any way Horner would have agreed to that if he was there.
And that's the problem. That is exactly the problem. Toto does not have a counterbalance in F1 right now in any which way. And I think that is showing because
I'm sure
exercising his political power. Sorry?
I was just gonna, I'm sure Toto was all for this because he probably immediately looked at it and just like I said there went, oh great, our combustion engine is probably close, but we can sort that out.
By the way, they aren't derating it, so you cannot derate it. The FIA officials are actually going to the factories. They are independently calculating the values. The race reported this.
Yeah,
let's take it on their word. Yeah.
We'll see. This is the FIA.
Yeah.
They're not exactly competent.
Look at the rules. Can we even argue with what you said right now? And this is and honestly, this is the final nail in the coffin when it comes to the entire situation. A lot of the people have said that, okay, since the Red Bull has the best power unit, it's just the chassis that sucks. And no, it doesn't work that way. Yeah. The internal combustion engine. So what it essentially means is for a unit of power, a unit of fuel, at peak power, the internal combustion engine for Red Bull can produce the most power. But the thing is, it cannot do it sustainably.
Nothing.
Yeah, it cannot do it sustainably because it will blow up.
It doesn't mean anything.
Exactly. On the other hand, Mercedes can do it on a more sustainable level consistently, and maybe that level is slightly lower, but It works, and that's the problem.
My head produces more hair than a 60-year-old man who's bald, but he's been to Turkey. He still has more hair. It doesn't matter. This is, in practice, he has more hair. Like that.
Exactly.
This is ridiculous.
Exactly.
It's so gameable. It's so gameable. It's unbelievably game. Because you can you don't need to just derate. Like, you could have came out in testing, which, by the way, was before homologation. If you were Mercedes, right?
Yeah.
And if you were Horner, I'm sure you were asking your team about this. Whereas new Red Bull is like, oh, we're very corporate and we have to do things by the book and not be like, this is, if you were
Consensus
Mercedes.
building.
Yeah, if you were Mercedes,
corporate word.
if you went out there and realized throughout testing in Bahrain, which was before the homologation, and you said, you know what, our electrical power is better, we can easily just homologate the engine with a little bit less power and get some ADUO. It's so gameable. It's unbelievably gameable.
Yeah, that's the problem. And unfortunately, we are at... And again, this is just
I won't say the word again, but it is. It is.
Yeah, this is just the final... Honestly, this is the final nail in the coffin when it comes to these regulations. Everything is stupidly done. Every fucking thing is stupidly done. And even... I mean, we've been talking... And again, you know, for the 60-40 thing, if it ends up happening, you're looking at a scenario where we are going to have cars where the on-track action is going to be so poor, they're going to look at ways to have that improved. And that's just the whole circle. We keep continuing going on again and again and again. What have they done? Seriously, what have they done with these regulations? Nothing is functional and nothing seems to be working in any proper way. I mean, yeah. Anyways, just complete disaster. Honestly, just complete disaster in every way possible.
I just feel like there's so many other ways they could have easily calculated this as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they could have easily just, you know, like, even if you look, there's top speed, which isn't great, but you could also do championship orders after every 6 races. You could do anything. You know what I mean? You could just say, okay, which of the teams running that engine is at the highest in the order, and we'll just calculate it that way. You know, like,
or
would it
maybe
be
add a
perfect?
reliability
No.
factor in the whole thing. Just
exactly.
have these factors in place. Because okay, fine, the internal combustion engine, it has X value. Have a reliability factor which is minus this particular.
Yeah, that wouldn't
have
work
the other
though,
electric
because
part and other.
Toto's already got that covered because he's made sure McLaren and Russell's cars blow up every race, so that's already covered.
Yeah.
But yeah. This just seems like the absolute laziest way to check this.
Yeah.
Does
it makes
is
Leclerc
it just
look
me
smart,
or
honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, that's,
it makes Ferrari look good. Like, it just, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but it just seems like this was the laziest option to check.
Exactly.
It seems like surely even you put the entire engine on a dyno, right? You make it do a race simulation, and you check that.
The problem is you can't do the electric bit on that front.
Sure you can.
That's because that is essentially through the power comes from MGUK, which is through brakes and everything, right? It's harvested through all
but
those
you can
areas.
check that you can check those forces in a simulator. The teams do.
Through simulators, yes, but that's again a very expensive ordeal that maybe the FIA is not. Yeah, of course it is.
The FIA goes in and says, okay, the most power-heavy circuits we've had have been Japan and X, right? We want your engine mappings and software readouts from the end of that race, right?
That could be done. That is actually
Problem
something
solved.
that they could do. But again, in that case, they might...
You need competency. But as we know, the FIA is based in Paris, where there is very little competency. And I probably shouldn't say that because I'm going to be in Paris in a month and a half. But anyway, don't kill me.
Yeah. We'll see.
Ooh la la.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. Again, there's apparently reports that they might scrap the ADUO completely in any which way. The teams have already started revolting. Again, we'll see what happens. And how symbolic is every fucking thing is wrong. Every fucking thing is being questioned and essentially being proven wrong. And then we have Stefano Domenicali come and say, everything is fine. Like, we are stupid in that case.
I just think it would be much fairer. Just like, honestly, because I don't trust the FIA to be competent in any measure anyway, I think we should just do the same thing we do with the aero thing. Of like, for example, with the aero, if we do the aero testing, like Ferrari or Honda or whoever in previous seasons, their aero can be good, but their engine can be bad, but they still got aero just based on where they were in the championship. Like, it didn't matter whether it was because your car, like Renault had a power unit which was just terrible, right? The aero on the Alpine wasn't as bad as everyone thought. It was just the engine was shit. Yet they still got aero allowances because their engine let them down, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I think it would have just been easier to just do it the same way the other way around, because this way we're trusting the FIA to do complex things. Like, just if Ferrari are third in the championship, they get 1 upgrade. If Red Bull's car is 6th in the championship, they get 2 upgrades. If Honda's last in the championship, they get 4 upgrades. Just what, like, whoever, I know it's manufacturer, but just whichever engine is the top in that is all you have to do. So like Mercedes is first, so all Mercedes power you. Well, just it doesn't even. If McLaren are first, they're running a Mercedes engine, so you base it on the top Mercedes engine. That's all you have to do. And like, is it the most scientific way to do this?
It's not empirically
Obviously
the best
not.
way, but of course,
but it's better
still
than this.
Simpler. Yeah,
it's better than
this. Is
this.
nonsensical.
Yeah.
This is nonsensical. Giving Mercedes concessions to improve their power unit is comical at this point. They've won all 6 races.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Even if it turns out their engine is actually crap and their aero's brilliant, you still don't give them upgrades for that. Like, we don't for aero. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know.
Yep.
It feels like you just think about it for 4 minutes and you can come up with better solutions than this.
Exactly. That's what we've done, right? By the way, we just thought about it for 4 minutes. And you'd hope that they've done a better job. But yeah. Moving on. Let's talk about the questions.
Yeah.
There are quite a few, by the way.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Okay. Ooh, 15. Goddamn.
Yep.
You people, please stop watching this podcast. Okay. Central 99. Does this year kind of prove that ground effect might have made the drivers look worse? Hamilton, Antonelli, Danny Rick, etc. Drivers with more aggressive or late braking inputs were nerfed last regs. I think this goes to kind of, from my point of view, this goes to kind of what... No, I wouldn't say that. I would say yes and no. Like, the problem with this is like everything else. Like, Hamilton still has a problem in adaptability. He's able to drive this car more naturally, but other drivers just got on with the last regulations, and Danny Rick couldn't adapt. So did it make Danny Rick look worse?
Daniel was shitty in 2021 as well. People keep talking about him being bad in 2022, but he was bad in 2021 as well. As soon as he went to McLaren, just stuff didn't click.
He couldn't adapt to the McLaren, basically.
And Kimi, last year was his rookie season. It wasn't. He was just getting used to Formula 1. Lewis is probably, and again, Lewis, again, I agree that he has done a brilliant job. I want to see a larger, what should we call it?
Oh, a
bigger sample space.
Yeah, bigger sample set.
Bigger sample space, after which we can make a call on that. So let's wait for that.
I think there is something to be said about, like, yes, it could have made those drivers look worse. I think that is true on its
some are not natural.
On its blank statement, like, yes, it is true. But also in Formula One, a lot of it is just about adapting. You can't just, because some years to make the car faster, it's going to have to make it less natural for you to drive, and you have to adapt to that.
Let's put it this way: 2007. So if you go through Lewis's career, right? 2007, 2008, it was all about being out and out fastest in those stints that he had. You had limited fuel, and you were just going hell for leather. There was no tire management or anything involved. Then came 2009, which was more or less similar, but slick tires. And slick tires are an entirely different challenge. In 2010, you first had tire management. In 2011, Pirellis came, an entirely different thing. Then you had the off-throttle blown diffuser, an entirely different challenge. 2014, turbo hybrid, completely different challenge and how the cars are driven. 2022. Exactly. Then again, a completely different driving style. So Lewis has gone through multiple different driving styles and challenges, and he's usually come on top of them. It's only when it came to the ground effect era, and also a much later stage in his career where he struggled to adapt.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it also has to do with 8 years of winning with a particular driving
a
style.
certain type of car. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's the longest stint he had been in a car, because 2007 was just 2007, 2008. Then you're into 2009, 2010. You know, like, yeah. So I think the basis of your point basically is like, yes, it did make them look worse, but also it's up to those drivers to adapt. So they like, you can't just blame the car either. You know that way.
Exactly.
Like it's like George right now. You could say, oh, he's not comfortable with the car, but tough shit, you need to be comfortable with the car, you know?
Yep.
Simple
100%.
as.
Primal Chaos,
Eris?
right?
Oh,
Okay, sorry.
they're in weird orders. Primal Chaos, if you want, though. A lot of questions. Jesus, okay. George and Restart?
So this was the restart of... so I think you'd remember, in the last restart, he just backed everyone up until he came out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
What he was trying to do was he wanted to have a certain level of space in which he can push for 1.5 lap and maybe join within top 10. That was what his aim was.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it didn't work out because you can only pull out so much of a gap in 1.5 laps.
Okay. Lavia said something about Ollie Behrman and Ocon. You're going to have to answer this because I don't know what's all about.
Lawrence, okay, apparently on the first lap, Ollie made contact with Ocon, damaged his front wing, didn't really say anything or apologize anything to the team or anything.
Okay.
Not a big deal, but yeah, happened.
Alonso points obviously means, Alonso's the best driver on the grid. Full stop. If you can get points in that Aston, you're better than George Russell. Simple as. And Cadillac missing out on points. I think just, Sergio, he is Mexican. They're not great at parking. So I think that's... I'm kidding, by the way. Mexicans, best valets in the world. I live in Mexico and I'm married to a Mexican. I'm allowed to be racist. That last point of that is just not accurate. But anyway, Charles and brake disc prophecy.
Yeah, so here the thing that has happened is, again, it's not completely substantiated but reported. So Ferrari has used Brembo brakes pretty much throughout their history. Yeah. Lewis has come in. Lewis was using the carbon brakes at Mercedes. He asked for carbon brakes here. In 2025, he didn't get it. From Japan onwards, he's had the carbon brakes. And there seems to be better feeling when it comes to that. Leclerc has been complaining about brakes quite a bit, and in Canada and Monaco, it was a bit it was made worse. It seems that Leclerc is also going to move to carbon brakes in Barcelona. Whether that helps or not, we'll have to see.
Yeah. ADUO deserves a separate video. I think we did a good bit on that.
Kind of
honestly. I think it could deserve a second video, but I think only after Spain, because a lot of the information we got was from one basically leaked memo, and it doesn't really give us like the full details. It gives us the order essentially to it, but it doesn't even really, because it just tells us Ferrari, Audi and Honda are in the same boat. It doesn't actually tell us like how much Honda got, how much Ferrari got. It's kind of just they got these amount of upgrades, but not like what the sliding scale is. So anyway, and then most importantly, track disintegration in Monaco. It was literally just one piece painted over or paved over that they fixed, right? And it just
disintegration apparently happened because it was a resurfaced part. It was after Larascas, right? So yeah, this happens a lot at track because this is just a street that's being used all the time. So that's what happens.
It happens more often than we expect.
Next.
Okay. Eris, I'm going to go with. Is Red Bull being proved to have the best engine, the ultimate vindication for Christian Horner?
100%.
Yes.
100%.
And yes. Yeah, I don't know if we can answer anymore.
Yeah, that's it. 100%. There's no doubt about it.
See what sees 101. Was this the first signs of Leclerc being rattled by Hamilton? And it says it's clear that the Hamilton renaissance is very real now, and Leclerc asking the team to split strategies so he could inherit P2 all seemed a bit desperate. I'm in two minds about it. I will say my opinion on this is we did say last year there's a lot riding on Hamilton being comfortable in these cars, and I do think that proves that to an extent, but also fair play to Hamilton for pushing the team towards that, as you said earlier. Like, that's on him as well. And then I will say the only thing I disagree with, like, I don't know if the Inherit P2 was desperate. I do think he has right to be upset for how they played out that strategy for him. Like, I would be. But as you said earlier, also, he should have put his foot down and said, no, I'm not coming in. Like, go away. What are you talking about? Yeah. So.
Yeah, I agree completely. Next.
Okay. I guess that's that. Here's a long one. Grogan's son says, Whoop.
Grogan's son.
He says, Whoop. I will say other health trackers are available. I'm so excited that Alonso got a point and his teammate pushed the first domino to make it possible by crashing. What is it with Alonso and inheriting things from teammates crashing, huh? Anyway.
He deserves to be lucky a bit, right? After what he's gone through.
Every 16 years he gets one piece of luck. Takes me back to the good old days of 2008. Does this amazing display of teamwork put Stroll up in Jason's ranking among the lines of Nelson Piquet Jr.? I think so. I think, frankly,
no,
it puts him into 20th.
No. Nah.
Yeah.
Lance isn't coming there.
I think Lance is definitely up there now in my ranking of tennis players. 2, so happy for Charles' contract extension. You can really see him enjoying his time with the team. I think there might be some sarcasm in this, you know.
Yes.
I think I'm starting to. Yeah.
Also nice to see the team thank.
Totally necessary pit stop behind his penalty serving teammate. It's wholesome display. Yeah.
It's really made my day. At his home GP. Okay, wait.
Yeah.
We have to read it correctly because people watching would not be able to understand it. So here's what he said. So happy for Charles' contract extension. You can really see him enjoying his time with the team. Also nice to see the team thanking him with a totally necessary pit stop behind his penalty serving teammate at his home Grand Prix. The wholesomeness really made my day. Perfect.
Fact. What do the SMH letters next to the drivers' names mean? Something with tires. They all appear to be doing roughly the same. Okay, I'll admit that one was low-hanging fruit. Yeah, fine. Wouldn't it be smarter for Aston to implement smaller upgrades bit by bit to test them instead of one big? Then again, it's Aston. Their test means jack shit. Yeah, I think there's logic in both ways of doing it. I think,
but for now, I think what they're trying to do is just waiting until the Honda upgrade comes, because once that comes, they'll have a better baseline.
And also as well, the more small ones they do, the less they'll have for next year in terms of development. So bring one big upgrade makes more sense in terms of let's see what we can get, and worst case we can just give up and go to next year. I think Nui, we need to give the benefit of the doubt. I know things haven't gone well, but like he has experience in turning things around over time.
What we have
one
to
person
first of
doesn't
all
make a team.
The thing is, we have to understand that these people aren't robots, and we also have to understand that when it comes to Formula One, it's a sport with highly competent people in almost every fucking team. So once they get it right, once they have nailed everything and they are winning, appreciate them the same way you shit on them when they are losing. And that not only holds true for Adrian Newey, it holds true for James Allison, who has been shat on for the last 4 or 5 years. And also for Pierre Vacher. The car was on the front row this weekend, so take it for what it's worth.
Yeah. I think it also I think shows that there's been a lack of stable management at Aston, which means there was probably way more to fix than needed, than there should have been. You know?
Should have brought Horner.
Anyway. Yeah. Okay, but now a serious question. Okay, here we go.
Finally.
Where do you see Cadillac in 5 years? And where do you even begin when starting a new team from scratch? Have they been doing a good job so far? I think starting with the last part, have they been doing a good job so far? Yes. I think everything they've been doing is pretty pragmatic for me.
I don't know if I'd call it good. I'd say it's acceptable, because it couldn't get... What else are they going to do? They are finishing the races, fine, that's it. The real test will come probably next season with the kind of car they bring, because that 1 year they've I think invested a lot. They've brought the facilities up to par. Next year I think they'll be hoping more to be around 8, 9, 10, be a point scorer once a while. In 2028 I think that is the year where they want to be in the midfield. Then in 29 or 30 is the time when they'll be bringing their power unit or engine, whatever it is. I think that's when they want to be in the top 4, top 5. Whether they will be or not is an entirely different thing, because a lot of it depends on the kind of trajectory they have, the team boss they have. I am not entirely sure if Graham Loudon is the right person. For now, I'm not sure, because his pedigree is fine, but I'm still not too
I think this is kind of like an Otmar Safnauer in that, like, I think he's the right guy to get you to a certain level, and then it might be time for a change. The only thing is, like, let's see, because throughout, like, his time in Formula One, he hasn't had the opportunity to show what he can really do. So I think we need to see.
He was there with Manor as well, remember?
Yeah, and Manor wasn't a team that had the right investment, the right people, and so on.
Yeah.
So let's see what he can do, because, like, you could say the same, like, Horner proved himself, but, like, when Horner came in, he wasn't also the guy who, you know, there was no
he was
telling
30
where he
years
could
of
go.
age.
And
Graham Loudon is 50 something.
an F3 boss, you know, when he came in, right? Is it F3 or F2?
GP, yeah, Arden.
GP2.
Arden
Yeah,
was
that?
team,
But
right?
was Arden F3 or obviously it wasn't called F2 back
GP2.
then, but was it
GP2
so it was
or
it was F2 basically, right?
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them.
So we'll see.
So I think first of all they have to start signing new people. I still don't think they have the right leaders in place. You at least need a core group, right? That can guide the team in the future. I don't think they have that yet. Give them time. For now, give them time.
But I think if you don't want to say good, I would say they've been doing a respectable job. I think is a fair way to put it. Like, I mean,
They've been flattered by Aston Martin in a way.
Yeah.
Because if Aston was competing in where it was supposed to, then it won't look good for Cadillac, because it would be languishing behind with at least more than a second behind the 10th fastest car. And that's not happened because Aston has fucked up, and that kind of makes them look better.
I think so, but I also think, to be fair, like, given the expectations even they set, I think they've done a reasonable job, you know? So I think,
it's an 8-month-old team.
Yeah, I think, look, joining a Formula One team from scratch against everyone that's in there, like, just being able to, like, qualify respectively, I think is fine.
Yeah.
You know that way? So
Agreed.
So I think if they put the same amount of energy that they put into, like, just looking like a competent race team this year, then if they can build on that for next year, I think we'll see. But the only thing I'm worried about with Cadillac is, like, I know why they want to build their own engine, because it's Cadillac and GM and that all makes sense. But I'm not sure that doing that straight away is the right decision. But we'll see.
You're doing it 5 years later, right? In 5 years is a decent enough time.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Red Robin. Will Alonso stay with Aston Martin for 2027? Also, amazing crash gate by Stroll to get Alonso a chance at the points. I think a lot of people may have watched our ranking, by the way.
Exactly. It's interesting. We didn't really find out. We didn't really join the dots, but these guys did. Interesting.
Yeah. Nelson Piquet Jr. Great. Anyway, Alonso stay at Aston Martin for 2027?
Yeah. He's not
I
going
think
anywhere.
so. I'm pretty sure
There's no one else coming. The problem that Aston has is that there's no one else coming, and Alonso. Look, if the upgrade is a disaster, the mid-season upgrade, whatever they're bringing in Spa, if that is a disaster, I don't think Alonso would stay, because what's the point? But I don't think it's going to be much worse than where they are right now. It's going to be a step forward.
I think, put it this way, as a person I've got a 5-year-old daughter, right? So I know what it's like the first 12 to 18 months of, like, the lack of sleep, the crying all night, these sorts of things, right?
Yeah.
If someone offered me 50 million a year to travel the world and avoid listening to that, I would have taken it. So I'm going to say he stays. Thankfully, my wife doesn't speak English, so she won't listen to this, so it's fine.
Lucky you.
CPB 1998 says, will Giancarlo Ferruccia be able to compose himself?
Okay, so it's basically...
Is this supposed to be Giancarlo Fisichella?
Yeah.
Or am I mixing this up?
No. He's doing I think it's a bit of a... It's a dig at George, I think. George Russell.
Oh, okay.
In some way.
Giancarlo
Fisichella. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of effort, CPB.
Yeah. I get what you're going at now. But yeah, will he be able to compose himself after such a bad weekend? I think yes, but I think this is just like...
It's a lot now. The problem is it's become a bit too much for him, because it's not... The thing is, there are too many things happening all at once, and he has to win Barcelona. Some way or the other, he has to win Barcelona, because if that race doesn't work for him, it'll be like it's a slide in that case.
Yeah.
Let's see.
He needs to beat Kimi. That's all he needs to do, like, because
Yeah.
You say win Barcelona. Like if McLaren will show up and have the best car at Barcelona and he can't win, that's fine. But he needs to beat Kimi. Full stop. Like that just needs to be what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Waylon Bocephus. Is there any hope for Ferrari? I mean, outside of the usual hopeless scenarios. No. Just no.
You know what the funniest thing here is? So a lot of these Max fans, they were pissed off at our podcast, and apparently, so Damien posted something about our podcast, and there were a lot of these Max fans complaining that these guys have these clickbait things about Max and everything. And then you had the Lewis Hamilton fans also doing the same thing. I'm like, look, guys, the problem is if these guys will do well, we'll praise them. If they do shit, if they do a shit job, we are going to talk shit about them. That's how it goes.
And in general, we're going to talk shit about everyone because that's more fun to do anyway than be nice.
Exactly. It's just your
People
problem
take
is...
this stuff too seriously. That's the problem.
No, honestly, just stick in your hug boxes in that case, because that's how it should be. If you don't have a thick skin, and if you can't take a joke, just stay in your hug boxes. What's that podcast? The Lewis Hamilton fanboy podcast?
Oh, Quick Stop F1 or whatever it's called.
Yeah, something on those lines. Just stick to that in that case, because
he's getting the fruit from the tree of the other guy.
It's like, oh, shut the fuck up. Do you not remember this?
No.
It was...
okay. That's Denny.
Was it if Russell wins or if Charles wins in 26 or something?
If Russell wins in 2025, if he's winning anything, so it's because of the effort that Lewis put into the car.
So Kimi is now winning because of Hamilton, basically, is what we're saying. Great.
Yeah. He probably let some DNA in that car as well.
Yeah.
That's helping.
Question for both of us, says Vettel Hamilton 6500. Since Charles Leclerc is 12 points behind Lewis Hamilton and Lewis Hamilton has massively improved this season, is it completely over for Leclerc for him to beat Hamilton in the standings once we reach Abu Dhabi the end of the season? Hold up. I just remembered something. During your last podcast, when you reviewed the Canada GP, I did say after the Monaco GP, Charles Leclerc will be behind Hamilton. Oops, I basically jinked it. Sorry, I noticed this when I've done. Yeah, okay.
What he's done here is he's essentially taken all the voices in his head and just typed it all out, and we love it.
It's basically what we do on microphones every week. Yeah. I will say, like, to Vettel Hamilton and all Hamilton fans, like, if Leclerc is beaten by Hamilton over a season, you can come up with the same reason. You can do what Hamilton did and come up with all the excuses in the world for why you're not doing well over the course of a 4-year stint at Mercedes, and it comes to very little. If Leclerc is beaten by Hamilton at his own team, that is both a brilliant show by Hamilton and an absolute disaster by Leclerc.
Yeah, his stock is gone at that point. At that point, he's done.
Yeah.
There's nothing left. Yeah.
You
should. It shouldn't be happening at any stage.
Nope. And I will give all praise to Hamilton for doing that, and I will shit on Leclerc massively for having come to that. So
exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
It's completely. It would be a complete disaster if that happens. I don't expect it to happen, but if it does, yeah.
There's a question then for each of us. So my one is, how do you feel that your countryman was demoted to P15 just to promote Alonso in 10th place? I mean, I'm happy Alonso got a point, and I'm not really that pushed on Perez at the moment, because I kind of just, as soon as he signed up for Cadillac, I kind of just assumed he would be nowhere for the whole season. So I'm not really that worried about it. I'm more annoyed about Colapinto, to be honest, and just the shambolic display of not beating a Frenchman once again. And, if you're Argentinian and watching this, you need to fix that, because us South Americans, as I am in Mexico, thank you, Helmut Marko, should not be being beaten by the French. And then there's a question for you. Could you see McLaren getting a first and second in Barcelona for McLaren to still have a chance in the Drivers' Championship? I love how this question's for you, even though I'm the one who's been constantly been like, I'm the one with the McLaren hopium every week.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If it happens, it would be awesome for us, because, 6 consecutive wins for Mercedes is becoming a bit too much. Mm-hmm. Seeing Toto happy is... So
I don't like it.
I'd rather not. Yeah. I doubt that it would, because McLaren does not seem to have the pace for now. They had the pace in Canada. They fucked it up. They didn't have the pace here whatsoever. Whether it was the setup, whether it was the inability to fire up the tires, whatever it was, it's not a all-round package. I think it all comes down to the front wing that they bring. That has been continuously, you can say, deferred to the next race. If that upgrade works and the car looks fine, because that upgrade, if it works, it's going to be transformational for them, because everything starts from the front wing.
Yeah, exactly.
If it works, they change things around completely. But if it doesn't, then they are in deep shit. Plus, who the fuck knows if they'll even finish the race? That's also the problem.
I think the simple fact is here, no one wants to see a German side run by an Austrian win for too long. It's not good for anybody.
Yeah. And usually it's the Brits that come to stop it. Brits led by an American.
That's true, yeah. In this case, potentially Brits run by Bahrainis. But anyway.
Okay, wait a minute. It's a German team led by an Austrian with an Italian. Wow.
This is very World War II now, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And the British guy inside's getting the shit kicked out of him, so it's very World
It's
War
a
II.
it's very World War II. So I guess
Actuals,
Lando
my
Norris wins the
bruv,
championship.
Yeah.
And somehow Honda gets fucked. So
Oh, Jesus. The Japanese getting fucked once again. Typical.
Yeah.
And you can read more about this in my book, History Written by Losers. Available. Anyway, yeah. I still need to send you a copy, actually. Remind me to do that later this week. Actuals, my bruv. How much does Riverside cost?
Too
I
much.
can tell you. Too fucking much, because I upgraded to premium. Irony is, or jokes aside, I think it was either $14 or $29. I can't remember. One of the two.
I by mistake I got the 1 year thing. So it's around it was around $24.99. So for 12 months it turned out to be about $300.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. All I know is I am cancelling mine after this podcast, because what I've learned is that whatever amount I pay for it, it's still the same. Still shit.
That was weird. Yeah.
I don't know what the deal is either, because Riverside was amazing at one point. It was so good.
There needs to be something. We need to work on the layout thing, because the layout was very weird. We might have, but again, that was the first time. Well, by the way, thanks for everyone that was part of the whole thing. It was fun. It was fun for us as well, even though my voice was pretty shitty at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, which one is left?
Sai.
What is the point of the Constructors' Championship if they're doing that ADUO? Exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Sai basically is right here in that any level of enforced fairness or communism, as some people would call it, is always bad for a championship.
Fair point.
For those of you wondering why I keep bringing this up, by the way, Sai, myself, and Casual talk a lot, and it's usually communism versus capitalism versus me in the middle, winding up both sides. I know you're not really a communism, but I know you're not really a communist, but yeah, it's fun to call you that. Did Russell? Ahmad Fabli. Did Russell try to cause a mass pile-up to nullify his penalty after a second start? I realised he was like 2 to 3 seconds slower than Kimi and Lewis. That should be investigated, right? You explained Monaco. What he was doing, but you're actually fully allowed to do that if you want to, basically. There's no rules against it.
That's entirely what Williams did in the race, right? When first Sainz held up the drivers, then Carlos held up the drivers. That's just what they do.
You're fully allowed to do that. Geo Mission, rumours Max is going to Mercedes are increasing. Would becoming Kimi's teammate be a big mistake for Max, aka Fernando Alonso 2007?
It would be a big mistake for one person for sure.
Toto Wolff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It would be the best thing ever for us.
Everything is going fine for Kimi. I think we should let the wolf into the hen house. That's
as a fan, I would love to see Kimi and Max in the same team, because that would mean complete self-immolation
Chaos.
of Mercedes
Yeah.
and Toto losing whatever hair is left on his head and aging
Yeah.
10 years in 1 year. It would be awesome to watch.
It would be amazing to watch.
Yeah.
But if I put on my team boss hat and was deciding as Toto Wolff, it is the worst possible decision Toto could make. It's a terrible idea.
Yeah. Which is sadly why he won't make it. Yeah.
I still think his business pragmatism will make him think, you know what, I've got Kimi now, I don't need Max.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he will.
You're saying you agree with me,
I
you
was
don't
saying
think he'll
the same
do
thing,
it anymore.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't think he'll do that anymore.
Yeah.
I also think there's also this element of potentially a door at McLaren opening and maybe Max going there.
There's a chance, isn't there, that could happen, yeah.
Especially with GP going there. I think the whole friction and everything, it might slowly start to dissipate. Because once Toto says no, Max, I don't think Max stays at Red Bull beyond 2026. It doesn't make any sense. If he's staying in Formula One, I don't think it makes sense for him to stay at Red Bull in 2027 in any which way. Either go to McLaren
I think
or
Red
this.
Bull's still going to get worse, right, over the course of the season. So
I don't think they're going to catch up with Mercedes. For me, that's the big thing. Yep.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's the questions. Okay, so
there's
before
one more.
There's
Vettel
one, okay.
Hamilton. Do you know what my predictions are for the Spanish GP? If I go full delusional mode, I want Fernando Alonso to win, Charles Leclerc second, Max Verstappen third. I also want Alonso to take out Lewis Hamilton into turn 1 in the first lap. So Lewis Hamilton DNF because I hate Lewis Hamilton. I also want...
Your name is Vettel Hamilton.
I know,
What
yeah.
are you talking-
I want Alonso to do, before the formation lap starts, he drives the car and finds Hamilton Ferrari car and drives through Hamilton Ferrari car and wrecks Hamilton Ferrari car, causing him to DNS. But sadly, I say George win, Antonelli second, Lando third. Fair enough. That was an incredible read.
That was essentially
I think
voices
that was
in the
actually
head.
it was better written than my book. History written by losers, available on Amazon now. And you can also get the updated cover for my original book, Automotive Arousal, available on Amazon now.
Yeah, cool. Barcelona, let's just go through them. Let's just breeze through it and call it quits. Okay, so predictions, top 3. Sorry, not predictions, your pecking order.
I am going to do one last weekend of delusion, and if it's not the case after this, then I'm giving up. I'm going to say McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari. I think
You
Ferrari's
talk about
power unit.
delusion. That's the most pragmatic call that you've made.
Well, no, because McLaren being ahead of Mercedes. I think I
You-
want it
you
more
went-
and more
okay,
now because
okay,
I don't want Mercedes to win every week. But people keep, whenever I say McLaren will win, people keep telling me in the comments that I'm an idiot and that Mercedes have a brilliant chassis, and I'm like, I don't think they have the best chassis anymore. But then we'll see. I kind of just want someone to challenge Kimi.
Yeah, it's
And
enough.
it seems
now,
like that's clear. It's not Russell.
Yeah.
So.
Took 6 years. It took 6 races for people to get.
I think
get
it's
to that
very
conclusion.
obvious that Russell took some sort of monkey curse back in 2021 to get a seat at Mercedes. You know, one of those finger things, is it? Whatever they're called. And this is now...
Seems to be playing a role, isn't
He
it?
made a deal with some sort of devil called Toto Wolff. Anyway,
I think it's going to be Mercedes, McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari. That's your pecking order. Because okay, wait. Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to be the pecking order. So if that's your pecking order, in that case, I'm... okay, your top 3 prediction in terms of who wins the whole podium.
I think given that I've said McLaren are going to have the fastest car, I think obviously it's going to be Kimi to win. I don't know. I'm going to split myself here. I'm going to say Kimi wins, Max second, Lando third.
That's after you think McLaren has the fastest car.
Yep, I'm aware what I said.
Yeah, I think it's Kimi. I think Kimi, George, Lando. Probably the safest pick. Yeah, but I might be wrong. We might see... Okay, this might be the race where George could bounce back.
No.
Maybe.
No.
Yeah, let's see. Because
if he
there
does,
aren't any
there'll be-
slow speed sections,
There'll
right?
be banana on the but there'll be like a banana on the pit straight or something.
There'll be
It's
something,
just-
yeah. For Mercedes might forget he has to pit or something. They might
Mercedes
not
might
add
just
fuel.
forget he's in a car.
Yeah.
Full stop.
The way they are going right now, I won't be surprised if that's the case. But yeah, that's where we stand right now. I think it's going to be. By the way, if Kimi wins this one, it will be 6 wins in 7 races, and only Jenson Button has done that. This might
Jenson
be the
Button,
best.
as we know, the absolute goat.
Yeah, the one that beat Lewis Hamilton.
Repeatedly.
Yep. By the way, 5 race win streak. That's third best. I think it's 10. Wait, 10, 9, 8, 5. So it's the 4th best win streak overall already for Kimi. Fuck, he's going to break a lot of records. Yep.
Yeah.
On that bombshell.
On a devastating
Bye-bye.
bombshell, it's time to end. Bye, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe. And before we do go, if you are listening to this on Spotify, please do leave a review if you've enjoyed the episode. It really helps us to share this to a lot of people. And actually, I think we get more people listening to us than watching us, which is interesting. So thanks, everybody. Bye.